The Resident Evil 4 remake is just about a week out, and Capcom was generous enough to drop the Chainsaw demo, where you play through part of the beginning of the game and up through the famous village encounter. My friends and I were very excited waiting for the demo, and once it dropped, we dove right in. Expectations were certainly high, and the RE4R demo did not disappoint. Once starting up the demo, it's immediately noticeable that Leon has more weight to his movement than in the original game. There is no more tight tank controls, and instead, Leon can move omnidirectionally and carries a lot of momentum with his movement. At first, it felt a little clunky to what I was used to, but once I ripped through the demo a few times, it started to click a lot better. I also appreciate how there are no lengthy animations for picking up items from boxes or enemies, making gathering of resources during a firefight much more smooth. You're not interrupted by an item pickup screen like in the original game. Leon can also break open crates and barrels without needing to use the knife, delivering a swift kick or a pistol whip to crack into them. Some movement, like jumping through windows or vaulting over obstacles, feels a little bit slower. You can also get body blocked hard by the Ganados, which I'll talk about more in a moment. Leon no longer has any kind of iframes or immunity with certain animations, and he could take damage as soon as he comes through a window, for example. On one of my runs through the demo, I accidentally started lifting up a ladder, and I took a nice chunk of damage because of it. Leon can also crouch now. This is utilized for stealth, but also has some implications during combat. You can duck under enemy throwables, and even under some enemy attacks if you duck at the right time. As far as the stealth mechanics go, it's hard to say how deep it'll go. As the demo is one contained area, there's only so many places you can go without being seen. It seems fairly forgiving so far, as I've been able to sprint up behind enemies before combat starts and take them out. What I absolutely adored about the demo was how intense the combat was. It very much reminded me of playing the original RE4 again. Enemies will not hesitate to swarm you if you stay in one place for too long, and like I mentioned earlier, they can body block you from exits like doors and windows. Even getting caught in the middle of a crowd is a death sentence. Here's a clip of me making a very good decision by jumping out of the window and into a crowd of Ganados. Yeah, of course this one blew up on Twitter, huh? The Ganados are still very durable for the most part, and now it can sometimes take multiple shots to stagger them for a melee attack. They also feel like they take more hits to put down than their original counterparts, but I don't think that's actually true. Looking back at the footage, it might only take a few rounds from the pistol to take some of them out. The contextual melee attacks themselves feel really weighty, like Leon is putting the force of the world behind each of his kicks. Like in the original, if you can stagger an enemy while you're surrounded, it can knock them all on their butts while saving your own. You can also suplex them if you manage to get behind one. Something I was pretty sure you could only do to the cultists, and I'm glad to see it expanded to the villagers too. The enemies also have some new behaviors. Like the pitchfork Ganado can now charge right at you from a long distance. Axe and sickle Ganados can still throw their weapons at you like before, but this time their comrades will duck out of the way. The ones that wield shovels have a longer attack range, it seems, and sometimes an unarmed Ganado will come at you with a haymaker. They'll also lay down traps in high traffic areas, and this has gotten me killed at least once or twice before. It really feels like they're all working together to take you out by any means necessary. They'll swing at you, stab at you, grab you, and hold you while they wait for their allies to do you in. It's very exciting and intense, and I absolutely cannot wait to see how all the other enemies will act and coordinate against the player in the future.
Present for you.
Now, of course, we need to talk about the guns, at least the ones we have in the demo. For the most part, they feel fantastic. The shotgun in particular has a lot of punch and power behind it. It's so powerful that you can actually bisect villagers with it if you manage to shoot them in the gut. I've also seen it cleave off arms and other body parts, and of course, there are the meaty headshots. This new dismemberment system facilitates a lot of great feedback and adds to the over-the-top nature of the game with gratuitous amounts of gore. On a side note, you can disable dismemberment in the options, along with enabling or disabling a plethora of other options I didn't think they would ever include. Stuff like persistent corpses or enemy motion behavior. It's really cool to see options like these, and I hope other AAA games can add more options like this in the future. I wonder if this will have any implications for speedrunners too. On a side note, they finally have an option to use PlayStation button prompts. As a DualSense user, I am very happy I don't need to mod my game just to have the right button prompts in. So thank you, Capcom. Getting back to the weapons, the pistol has a nice punchy sound to it and the impact feels pretty good. It's by no means a powerhouse, but it's reliable and still my go-to for quick staggers. A really nice little detail is this tactical reload. If you have at least one bullet in your magazine and reload, the extra bullet will be racked into the chamber, giving you 11 shots instead of just 10. It's a small detail, but a welcome one. The TMP, a hidden weapon in the demo, feels great as well. It's a stagger machine and is incredibly useful against Salvador or mowing through the villagers. Enemies will react violently to being riddled with bullets, and it adds to that action movie feel. Grenades and flash grenades make their appearance again. The flash grenade is pretty self-explanatory in its function, great for stunning a crowd and repositioning yourself or taking out some ganados. The grenade lives up to the power of its predecessor and is unmatched in crowd control. Almost nothing else in the demo feels as good as tossing a grenade into a tightly packed group of enemies. No incendiary grenades here, but I'm sure we'll be seeing them in the full game. I can't believe I almost forgot about this entirely while I was editing this video, but another big change we see is live weapon swapping. No longer do you need to pause and unpause the game to swap your weapons. Instead, you can have them on a quick select menu. This is another change that smoothens out the pace of combat compared to the original, but you can still do it the old-fashioned way if you like. Finally, there's the knife. Like its predecessor, it's very useful in combat, but for many different reasons. Instead of being an ammo-saving method of taking enemies out, the knife can get you out of grabs, perform stealth kills, take out a downed or stunned enemy in one hit, and my favorite new function, parrying. All of these come at a cost, however, as the knife now has durability to it. Each of the previously mentioned functions will eat away at its durability, but at differing costs. Kills with stealth or on downed enemies will cost the most, while basic slashes and stabs are the least. On my controller, L1 readies the knife for a stabbing position, while R2 does an automatic slash. The stab is a lot faster, while the slash covers a wider range. Each of these attacks uses up very little durability, and you can cut into a few downed enemies like in the original. And of course, getting in some good stabs or swings at their faces will stagger them. The parry function has got to be my favorite new mechanic shown off so far. By either tapping L1 or R2, Leon can parry an incoming attack. The window for the parry is quite forgiving, and you can get it a bit early or a bit late depending on if you do the quick parry or the slash parry. You can also parry at almost any time and in a wide range. If you're in the middle of a reload, for example, you can cancel it into a parry right away. For the range, I've done a little bit of testing, and it seems like Leon can parry in a full 180 degrees in front of him, but not behind him at all. Enemy Throwables can be parried as well for a stylish looking deflect. Of course, you can also parry the chainsaw during a certain swing, but doing so will break the knife. Parrying an enemy attack at the right time, and in this case it seems like the last second, will cause the enemy to stagger, opening them up for a melee attack. Leon also reacts differently when he does perform a perfect parry. Leon will stand his ground and swing confidently upwards when he gets a perfect parry, while other parries will leave him stumbling a bit. I did find out something interesting with normal parries. I've only had this happen once in testing, but if the enemy is aggro enough to attack you multiple times in a row and you parry those attacks, it will eventually stagger them. Now, this is pure speculation on my part here, but I wonder if this means there's a stamina system in place for parrying enemies, or if it's simply an enemy is staggered after X amount of parries. Or maybe it was just an outlier and I perfect parried by accident. One of my favorite things to parry are the unarmed ganados. Regardless of your parry timing, a parry to their punch attacks will literally disarm them. If they follow up with another fist attack, they'll die. Maybe in the full game they'll erupt with a Plagas or something. I've been playing this demo so much since it dropped, and I am incredibly excited to see what the full game brings to the table. So I hope you all found my insights here a little interesting, and I will see you in whatever video comes next. Take care. Oh. Oh boy. Okay, I should get this video out quick. I got some ULTRAKILL I need to do.